A disaster in Atlanta for Donald Trump. Trump gave a speech in front of a crowd that was significantly less crowded than Vice President Kamala Harris's speech in the same venue. And boy, was it strange, odd, weird, dangerous. You picked the word. Donald Trump congratulated Vladimir Putin for the prison swap. He again talked about his friend, the imaginary cannibal, Hannibal Lecter. Donald Trump also brought one of his MAGA operatives on stage and talked about kissing her and how he may not want to go back home to his wife. Also, Donald Trump continued to make numerous racist statements about Vice President Kamala Harris. So did the speakers before Donald Trump. That is the key theme of his campaign right now. Donald Trump saying that Vice President Kamala Harris turned black. That's what Donald Trump is making the forefront of his campaign. Also, he spent time in Georgia attacking the Republican leaders in the state, like their Republican Governor Brian Kemp and their Republican Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger. Donald Trump's now saying the polls are all rigged. His team put out a press release saying that the polls are rigged against him. It is fake news and fake media, according to Donald Trump, rigging the polls because the poll after poll after poll that he used to post, both the battleground and general election state polls, now have Donald Trump losing, running scared. Donald Trump, of course, unilaterally canceled the debate with Vice President Kamala Harris, which was scheduled to take place on September 10th. On ABC. Donald Trump then invented his own debate that nobody agreed to. I'm not even sure Fox agreed to it, but Trump said he's going to do it at his specific time in his specific safe place. So much for anytime, anywhere, any place, like Donald Trump said. He said he wants to do it early September on Fox. Nobody agreed to it. Vice President Kamala Harris basically just laughed at him and said, like, what are you talking about? I'm going to go to the debate that everybody agreed to on ABC, to which Donald Trump responded, no, I'm not going to be going and doing a debate with Slopadopoulos. That's Donald Trump's reference to George Stephanopoulos. Trump repeatedly calls him Slopadopoulos because Donald Trump is a petulant weirdo third grader. Vice President Kamala Harris continues her momentum, as mentioned before, rising in the polls, but even more significantly than that, I think coalition building. She's now secured the endorsements of numerous prominent Republicans who also formed a group, Republicans for Harris. Indeed, a unity ticket Vice President Kamala Harris is putting out there. Also, the MeidasTouch Network put out a new short, which went mega viral. We call it Hillbilly Felony, the story of Shady Vance meeting Donald Trump, which we'll show you in just a little bit. A lot to talk about. And also we should talk about Donald Trump doing an interview earlier in the day to try to rebut the fact that lots of people have been calling him weird. So he did an interview with this guy, Aiden Ross. You see Donald Trump there. For those who are on audio, you can't see it, but those watching, doing a weird dance. This guy, Aiden Ross, is a right-wing streamer who got famous for sniffing the butts of people. He would sniff the butts of girls and people he considers alpha males in his own world, and he would sniff the seats, and the people would say, sniff it, Aiden, sniff it, Aiden. Donald Trump said that Aiden is a very respected individual, and that's how Donald Trump spent the day, with an actual butt sniffer.
Just gets more and more insane, Ben, Jordy. What kind of Mad Libs is this episode? I don't know, but I did not see that coming today when we thought about, this episode over the weekend, those words and that combination I did not think would ever come into a MeidasTouch episode. But we are in the era of crazy Donald Trump, who, as the polls turn against him, is just becoming, let's face it, he's becoming more and more and more unhinged. As we've always said, there's no bottom to this guy. There's no bottom to his depravity, and the more the tides turn against him, the crazier he's gonna get. Like, if you think you've seen it all, you ain't seen nothing yet. Also, I gotta say, on the last episode, I know my mic was a little low and everybody was enraged, and I was trying to figure it out, and I had my settings locked from one of the previous streams that we were doing, and it was the most stressful thing. But I think I'm back, right? Do I sound okay now?
You sound great.
You're so back. You're so back.
We're so back. So let's get into it. Jordy, what's up?
I just gotta say, MAGA, from bootlickers to butt sniffers, the MAGA floor has no bottom. That's where I want to start off the show. Ben, where are we going from there?
What a slogan.
Should be noted that after this show ends, we will be streaming Against All Enemies live here for free. I mean, it's going to be on the feed. You'll be taken to that afterwards.
No, you won't. You're not going to be taken automatically. So I want to make sure you know there's a link in the description to this video. You have to click the link in the description of this video to go there. So you could open it up in a new tab, in a new window right now. Set your reminders. It's going to start at 9:15 p.m. Eastern, 6:15 Pacific, right after we finish this show. So set your reminders now. Make sure you check that out. And if you're listening to this audio on Tuesday, it's still up there. You could go and you could check it out by going to youtube.com MeidasTouch. You will see the full movie there for you to watch, absolutely free of charge. It's so important. We wanted to make sure that as many people as possible could see this.
Thanks for stepping in there, Brett, because that was the most Ben move ever right there, of just giving people the instructions without consulting with you or I. I mean, Ben, you're usually very good at asking like for the specific, directing instructions. That was like, what was that?
Look, I think Ben just wanted me to emphasize the correct way. So he said it incorrectly so that I could come in and make sure that it's ingrained in people's minds that Against All Enemies, the number one documentary, the number one of all movies on Apple TV when we released it for a week, like it was ahead of Barbie and Oppenheimer and every movie. Number one, we're giving it for free. We're letting you watch it for free tonight. So make sure you check it out. Oh, another special bonus about this. Charlie Sadoff, the director of the movie, and Ken Harbaugh, the producer of the movie, are going to be in the chat to chat with all you folks while we watch the movie. It's going to be quite the watch party tonight of an incredibly important film.
Look, of course I meant metaphorically taken there, Jordy. The Midas Mighty understood what I meant. Let's go to Atlanta, Georgia, Donald Trump's awful speech there. This was the moment in the speech, and the whole thing is very odd and bizarre. I often list all of the things that happens because sometimes it's just even too hard to believe that this is actually the leader of the Republican Party. But here, Donald Trump talks about one of his surrogates who he's on stage with. Her name is Michaela Montgomery. You may recognize her. She was the lady in the Chick-fil-A who gave Donald Trump a hug, and Donald Trump tried to use that to say he has support in the black community because a black lady gave him a hug in a Chick-fil-A. We very quickly here at the MeidasTouch Network pointed out that that was a stunt, that she had previously worked for Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens. She's a MAGA operative, and she follows Trump around event to event to event. So Donald Trump says, look, I have support in the black community when she gives him a hug at the various events. That's why it's important to call these stunts out. Donald Trump had Michaela Montgomery give one of the opening speeches at this Atlanta, Georgia traveling fascist circus thing that he calls a rally. Then when he was on stage with her, he said that she kissed him. And then he talks about them kissing each other and how he may not go back to his wife, Melania, anymore. Play this clip.
It's President Trump. You saved my college. And I said, how the hell do you know that? She said, you are, this one is so smart, so sharp. She grabbed me. She gave me a kiss. I said, I think I'm never going back home to the First Lady.
You were supposed to keep that quiet.
See, now, for the average politician, that's death. For me, I don't care.
Also, did you hear what he said? He said, this one. I don't know if you picked that up as well. Let me show you her speech before Donald Trump took the stage and talked about she and him kissing each other. Here's what she had to say. And this was part of the messaging that Donald Trump wanted out there, because he had signs throughout the stadium saying Vice President Kamala Harris is not black, she's Indian. And he had that as like the main message out there. And that's been one of the main message that his MAGA surrogates have been trying to push. Look, Vice President Kamala Harris has a black Jamaican father, and her mom is of Indian heritage. She's biracial, but yet Donald Trump wants to say she turned black. So Donald Trump has his surrogates like Michaela Montgomery push that message. Let me show you. Play the clip.
A few days ago, President Trump said he didn't know Vice President Harris was a black woman. I'm trying to figure out what all the outrage is about, because she's only black when it's time to get elected. Did I lie? The same black people who are mad at Trump for being confused about her race, ethnicity, nationality, whatever, are seemingly forgetting that while you're touting her as a savior for black people, she identifies as an Asian woman. She chose her side and it wasn't ours.
This is so weird and offensive and racist. And like, I don't even understand like the strategy behind it. You know, I guess there's no strategy behind this. Like, yeah, Trump, you got the racist base on lock. I'll let you know that. I'll let you know a little secret. The racist people, you got them. Okay. But you're not going to expand to kind of the normal people that you'd actually need to win. And I even saw some interesting reports from reporters at the rally who were interviewing some of the Trump supporters at this rally. And even they apparently were like I don't know how they're surprised at this point, but they were like, oh yeah, I can't believe he kept going to that. I can't believe he kept talking about that. I wish he talked about the issues. I'm like, do you know the guy you're following? Is this your first time? Like, I can't even fathom this strategy.
Donald Trump then writes on his social media, in between talking about the kiss and her speech, Trump writes, "Good job by Michaela Montgomery. What a speech. A special person with a fantastic future." Like right there, that should in and of itself be disqualifying. By the way, when she chanted, "Did I lie?" Yeah, you did lie. Everything you're saying is a lie and very strange, and saying Vice President Kamala Harris chose sides. What are you even like? What are you talking about? And then all of the other speakers continued with that theme. And then Donald Trump continued with that theme. And we'll show you some clips in a little bit. But Donald Trump would say things like he would intentionally mispronounce her name. And then he would go, there's 19 ways to say her name, 19 different ways. I'll say it however I want to say it. Why? Why would you do that? Like, why is that a normal thing to do? And as I've said before, someone who engages in behavior like that would not have any position of leadership or, frankly, position at all in a big company, medium-sized company, small company, nonprofit, social gathering. Someone showed up to my house and behaved like that. I try to get a restraining order against them, yet the Republicans want to give this guy the nuclear codes. And as he's there in Georgia, he spent a great deal of his speech not just attacking Brian Kemp, the Republican governor of Georgia, for not lying about the election results. He was attacking Brian Kemp's wife repeatedly, the wife of the Republican governor, over and over again. One of the things we wanted to do, though, at the MeidasTouch Network, and you may have seen this went mega viral, is find unique ways to just showcase who Donald Trump and Shady Vance are. So at the end of last week, we released one of our latest Meidas shorts, and we're able to build these shorts thanks to your support. You go to patreon.com/MeidasTouch. You help support the growth of this independent media platform. And I hope you've been enjoying the shorts that we have been delivering lately as we continue to expand in scope and size. And I think it adds another dimension to the work that we're doing here. Let me just show you. We did it in a movie trailer style. It's called Hillbilly Felony. I guess the sequel to Hillbilly Elegy. And it's the story of how Donald Trump and Shady Vance met. Let's play the trailer.
I didn't vote for Trump.
The people who are most deranged and most psychotic are people who don't have kids at home.
The vice president, in terms of the election, does not have any impact.
I didn't come from the elites.
He was a nobody.
J.D. Vance, author of Hillbilly Elegy.
He came from nothing.
I'm a never Trump guy. I never liked him.
You said idiot if you voted for him.
I didn't vote for Trump. I'm not a Trump supporter.
Might be America's Hitler.
An idiot and a moral disaster. You got to respect the American people enough to just level with them.
But wanted to stand for something.
I didn't think he was going to be a good president, Brett. He was a great president.
Himself.
Senator, this is an evolution.
All of a sudden, he decided not only isn't Trump noxious and reprehensible, he's now the greatest president of his lifetime.
JD is kissing my ass. He wants my support.
From the party with no platform.
I'm a never Trump guy.
He's the best president of my lifetime.
A man with no convictions.
Donald J. Trump, guilty on all counts.
And a man with 34 convictions.
I did absolutely nothing wrong.
In a story about freedom.
It was meant to be, at least a little bit.
Okay.
Freedom to rig elections.
Give votes to all children in this country, but let's give control over those votes to the parents of those children.
The freedom to be racist.
Now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
And the freedom to control women.
Roe versus Wade is an abomination. We're effectively run in this country by a bunch of childless cat ladies.
The people who are most deranged and most psychotic are people who don't have kids enough.
If you don't have as much of an investment in the future of this country, maybe you shouldn't get nearly the same voice.
J.D. Vance also thinks stepmoms aren't really moms. Women should be staying in marriages even if they're violent marriages.
These swing voters do not like him, and they do think he's weird.
No, we're not weird people. We're actually just the opposite.
From the directors of two fake charities.
We've always had a good chemistry. JP, right? J.D. Mandel.
It's hillbilly felony.
I love you guys.
Well done.
I don't want to see
Brett
it.
And the whole team that you oversee there that did a really good job.
Yeah, really shout out to our production team. And I really think we're putting together right now like the best of the best production team. And so I think between, the podcast that we do here, between the reporting that Ben and Michael Popak and all of our incredible contributors do, and then these short videos that are these viral, very snackable, shareable videos, I think we're getting out information now in very interesting ways, like nobody's doing it. So, thank you to everybody for making that possible.
We talked about some of the data. Give a shout out to all the Meidas Mighty for making this happen. In the past 48 hours or so, between 25 to 26 million views, more people watching MTN, the MeidasTouch network, than CNN, Fox, MSNBC, and that's thanks to you. Our coverage of the Trump disaster in Atlanta got 3.3 million views alone on just that coverage, which is more people watching that than watch like a Hannity or a Laura Ingraham on prime time. So thank you for getting the word out there. Let's talk about, though, some of the other things that went down in Atlanta, Georgia, shall we? We could talk about him glitching. We could talk about him praising Vladimir Putin. We can talk about him yelling at the school administration that owned the auditorium for empty seats. We could talk about Hannibal Lecter. We can talk about Trump glitching, trying to attack Vice President Kamala Harris. We can talk about Donald Trump saying that he saved the words, Merry Christmas. We could talk about Donald Trump saying that he now supports electric cars, but he didn't 2 weeks ago because Elon Musk told him to and gave him money. We could talk about Donald Trump spreading the fake story about the female Algerian boxer. We could talk about Donald Trump saying that he hates Bruce Springsteen. We could talk about Donald Trump saying he hates the governor of Georgia, Brian Kemp. We could talk about Donald Trump whining about the crowd size over and over again. Why don't you could watch the longer version where I
choose your adventure, Ben.
Choose your adventure. Why don't I do Trump glitching heavily with claims of defunding the place? Play the clip.
Should not stop. She said she was endorsing defund the place and the police. And she said, violent mobs, let the violent mobs keep going.
And by the way, we didn't slow that down. In my next choose your own adventure page, Trump blames the school administration for empty seats. Play the clip.
But the school administration stopped us from getting another 500, 600, even 1,000 people in. Thousands of people were told no, and that was okay, but we could have fit another 600 people. So I don't know anything about the school. This school, but they could have allowed more people. You got people standing outside. Look at all the people outside. They could have come in. They could have come in. So we're not happy. Hello out there. And then they actually pushed the people very far away from the building where we have beautiful cameras set up for the overflow crowds. The administration of the school. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be sending anybody to this school. I'm not happy about it. If they're going to stand in the way of admitting people to our rally, just imagine what they're going to do on Election Day. We're not going to let that happen.
I mean, it's
such an incredible
hour and a half of watching somebody who needs to be placed under a 5150 involuntary psychiatric hold, like on a stage, just spewing nonsense over and over again. I've told the story about my buddy who I played tennis with on the weekends, who he said to me something that resonated so much. He goes, Ben, you don't get it though. Donald Trump is uniquely the single worst individual in the United States to be the leader of a political party and to run for president. He goes like, you see that person there, you see that person there, they would do a far better job. Trump is so mentally deranged and demented that it's like, what are we even watching? I mean, and by the way, here, as I go to the next page of our Choose Your Own Adventure, here is Donald Trump congratulating Vladimir Putin. So we went from Mr. Gorbachev, tear down that wall. Horrible Reagan impression. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down that wall, to Donald Trump saying, I want to thank Vladimir Putin. Putin. Here, play the clip.
It's terrible. You know, by the way, I'd like to congratulate Vladimir Putin for having made yet another great deal. Did you see the deal we made?
I mean, who praises Vladimir Putin?
And by the way, I haven't heard him say one nice word about the people who are wrongfully imprisoned over there. I've not heard him give them any well wishes to those Americans who are being held overseas. Some of whom were being held on his watch. He just doesn't care. It's always, how could I spin this for my own political benefit? He personally almost tried to hold them hostage himself by saying that he was the only one who would be able to let them out, and he was so angered by the fact that they were released because he thought his buddy Vlad was going to do him a solid. And that's not what this country is about. Have we ever had in our history, I know the answer, spoiler alert, is no. Have we ever had a president in our history that worked day in and day out to undermine the United States of America, to do everything imaginable to try to harm the United States of America, to try to help our enemies? It's never existed before. And I think it's something that's not talked about enough, quite frankly, with what Biden has had to deal with as president. It's unprecedented. And we'll get into that more too as we talk about kind of the stock market and the things that Donald Trump was doing. But it's all them trying to instill this fear and to try to tear the country down so that they personally could do better. And that is not what the country's about.
And then, Brett, just to that point too, it's not that Trump is just sitting idly, right? Like just letting things happen. He's actively rooting against the country and trying to undermine the efforts of, just law and order from taking place. And so to see him, when he makes that statement, talking about the hostages, for example, that they're not going to be released until he's president, you're exactly right. It's a wink and a nod to Putin saying, hey, this is what I want. This is what we need to make sure happens so I could look like the big hero for my team. He doesn't care. Trump doesn't care about the country. He only cares about making Trump look better.
Look, it doesn't even have to be a wink and a nod, right? I mean, he invites Viktor Orban, Putin's buddy, to Mar-a-Lago. And, it's always projection and confession with these MAGAs. So when they talk about like the deep state out there plotting against the government, again, they're just telling on themselves. I mean, where have we seen before in American history essentially a shadow government being created by these MAGAs to try to undermine the legitimacy and the success of all of we the people, of we the Americans, and the existing government, like working against it at every turn. And when we get back, we should talk about it, right? They're rooting against and trying to block prisoner swaps. They blocked a bipartisan border deal. Donald Trump complains and yells that the OPEC cartel was defeated and that gas prices were coming down when OPEC tried to inflate it. Donald Trump's threatening the chairman of the Federal Reserve to not lower interest rates. Donald Trump is inviting over Orban and Netanyahu and others to try to dictate foreign actions that create chaos. And Donald Trump roots against the success of the stock market. And that's just a small list. Let's talk about that and more, but let's take our first quick break of the show. I know from a lot of the emails that you send me that a lot of you watching and listening are entrepreneurs. You run your own business. And I run a business too, the MeidasTouch Network. So I know how hard it is to manage your numbers, manage the trends in the market, and budget everything. Your business gets to a certain size and the cracks start to emerge. Things you used to do in a day are now taking a week. You have too many manual processes and you don't have one source of truth. If this is you, you need to know these three numbers: 37,000, 25 and 1. Okay, 37,000. That's the number of businesses which have upgraded to NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite is the #1 cloud financial system, streamlining accounting, financial management, inventory, HR, and more. 25. NetSuite turns 25 this year. That's 25 years of helping businesses do more with less, close their books in days, not weeks, and drive down costs. And 1, because your business is one of a kind. So you get a customized solution for all of your key performance indicators, KPIs, in one efficient system with one source of truth. Manage risks, get reliable forecasts, and improve margins. Everything you need to grow all in one place. The power of having all the information in one place to make better decisions and the unprecedented offer NetSuite is providing has been a game changer for us here at MeidasTouch, and I think it will also be a major game changer for you and your business. Right now, download NetSuite's popular KPI checklist designed to give you consistently excellent performance absolutely free at netsuite.com/Meidas. That's netsuite.com/Meidas, netsuite.com/Meidas to get your own KPI checklist. That's netsuite.com/Meidas. Check it out. What if you could support family farmers and reduce your environmental imprint, all while enjoying the highest quality meat on earth? When you join the Moink movement, you can. Moink delivers grass-fed and grass-finished beef and lamb, pastured pork and chicken, and sustainable wild-caught Alaskan salmon straight to your door. Moink farmers farm like our grandparents did, and as a result, Moink meat tastes like it should because the family farm, let's face it, does it better. And the Moink difference is a difference you can taste. Unlike the supermarket, Moink gives you total control over the quality and source of your food. You choose the meat delivered in every box, like ribeyes to chicken breast to pork chops to salmon fillets, and much more. Plus, you can cancel at any time. Moink is helping save rural America. I love it, and you will too. Join the Moink movement today. Shark Tank host Kevin O'Leary called Moink's bacon the best bacon he's ever tasted, and Ring Doorbell founder Jamie Siminoff jumped at the chance to invest in Moink. Plus, they guarantee you'll say, oink, oink, I'm just happy I got moinked. I know I do, and you will too. Keep American farming going by signing up at moinkbox.com/MeidasTouch right now. And listeners of this show get free bacon for a year. That's 1 year of the best bacon you'll ever taste, but for a limited time. It's spelled MOINK box.com/MeidasTouch. That's moinkbox.com/MeidasTouch.
Let's go. Shout out to our sponsors, y'all. Seriously, thank you. Last time I spoke with NetSuite, we once again, you guys are going to think I'm making this up. I'm not. They are shocked by the traffic that comes to their website from this show. So do me a favor, click the link in the description in the YouTube, check out that KPI checklist. And Moink is back strong with the network, folks. Gotta love that free bacon for a year offer. That's delicious. Check that out ASAP. Those codes, those discounts are literally just for you guys. So make sure you click our links and use our codes and let them know we sent you. It means a lot. And they're great freaking products and deals.
When Brett, Jordy, and I were speaking earlier about Donald Trump trying to undermine the success of our nation, we were just talking about how unprecedented it is and that it doesn't really get discussed in its proper context. And we thought it was important that we bring it up. What we were talking about on the phone was like, could you imagine if after John McCain, lost, that John McCain then spent the rest of the remainder of his life trying to undermine and destroy Barack Obama and like trying to cut deals with foreign leaders and constantly posting over and over and over things that could lead to real just detrimental things, not just for Obama, but for like the people itself. And, you go back, there's really no historical precedent for it. I mean, Donald Trump is out there bragging that he killed the bipartisan border deal, right? A deal that was negotiated by a conservative in Oklahoma, who President Biden tasked with leading the negotiations. There was a deal that was reached that would have helped the situation at the border. Donald Trump then told MAGA Mike to kill the bill and not even let it get a vote, to not even let it come before the House of Representatives. And so they blocked it in the Senate. They blocked it in the House of Representatives. MAGA Mike blocked it in the House. And then the American people didn't get the benefit of a deal that would have actually benefited we the people. And Donald Trump, you saw before, Donald Trump praising Vladimir Putin on the prisoner swap. Donald Trump also posted right after attacks on the fact that America got its unlawfully detained prisoners and hostages back. Donald Trump has been posting attacks on OPEC and saying that why is OPEC trying to help Vice President Kamala Harris win the election? You know, they're trying to rig the election for her. And he's upset that President Biden and Vice President Harris came up with a strategy that would stop OPEC from raising the price per gallon of oil. $100 is what OPEC want to do. They're a cartel. The goal of the cartel is to price gouge. Okay. And it's not like there's international antitrust regimes to stop them. So we created a policy to stop them. And Trump's complaining about that. Trump has been consistently attacking the chairman of the Federal Reserve to not lower interest rates. And we've reported on that before. Donald Trump gave an interview with numerous outlets saying that it would be unfair if interest rates were lowered because it would help the Democrats. So he's trying to screw us there. And look, I have no doubt that when Orban and when Netanyahu visit Mar-a-Lago, that Donald Trump is saying to them some version of, you need to keep chaos going on because chaos is a winning issue for me. I have no doubt that that's what 100%. Donald Trump's saying, Brett.
Yeah, no, I have no doubt about it. And Donald Trump has built up this, very large kind of disinformation network to pump all this BS out into the ecosystem and to just muddy the waters. If you remember the Steve Bannon strategy that Bannon had said, which was some form of, I'm paraphrasing, but I think it was flood the zone with shit is what Steve Bannon said. That's exactly the Donald Trump strategy here. And by the way, it's exactly the strategy of Elon Musk, who is supporting Donald Trump and who purchased Twitter, who spent $44 billion and is losing most of his investment. And I don't think he cares because the goal of it is to spread disinformation and to spread this kind of panic because they want to see the world burn. So whether it's with the stocks, whether it's with the border, whether it's with other issues of migration. If you remember a few months ago, what we reported on was the run on the banks. You had Elon Musk, you had David Sachs, you had Donald Trump, you had all those Trump influencers all trying to stoke a run on the banks. Like, how irresponsible can you be to use your platform to try to do that? Now, that didn't work, but that doesn't stop them from literally every single day trying some sort of psyop in order to try to destroy the country and ruin people for their own personal benefit. I mean, we've seen it also recently with the whole, kind of faux controversy at the Olympics with the Algerian boxer. That also was spread by people like Elon Musk, people in Donald Trump's orbit, who accused an Algerian boxer who won her match against an Italian boxer of not being a woman, even though she was born a woman, and they spread all this fake BS about it. It's just constantly flooding the zone with BS. And I think part of this, though, is going to backfire on them because I really do believe that people are just so exhausted with the BS. I think people are so exhausted of every single day waking up and being like, all right, what are these people complaining about now? I just want to watch the Olympics. I just want to go to the movies. I just want to drink a beer. I just want to do whatever. I don't need to think about your stupid culture war BS every time I do something. I just want to turn on the TV and enjoy my life. And you are invading my life with this BS. I want to be able to watch the Olympics without you like doing genital inspections on the boxers. Like, that's weird. Stop it. Like, what are you doing? I want to enjoy my Bud Light or whatever it is without you going on your weird conspiracy theory about it because a transgender person once drank a beer in a sponsored social media ad. Like, it's just every single day BS? What can we hate? What can we make you fear? That's their whole goal. And they want to tear people down and bring people to their level of hatred and bring people down to their level of like their just bizarre depression, because they know when people are upset, then they turn to the strongman in order to feel some sort of power. And that's what they want to put inside of people. That's what they want to put out there into the world. And so, but I think people are really sick of it, because when I go out, I see happy people. Like, I think people are actually feeling really good about things overall right now. I've gone to, sporting events, when I go to concerts, when I go out, like, people seem like they're having a good time. When I look at social media, people are posting videos of them at big concerts and events and stuff like, and I think they just don't want to have these crazy people in their lives every single day, telling them what to do, telling them what to think. I think it's just incredibly invasive, boring at this point, and just really annoying.
And look, the stock market had a down day. It was not a good day on the stock market, but it wasn't a crash. It was a bad day on the stock market. If you take a look at this chart right here, and our editor-in-chief, Ron Filipkowski, explained, look, this is the stock market from Trump's defeat in 2020 to right now. And so you can take a look. The stock market's up almost 50%. Remember when Donald Trump was making all of these threats? It's up over 12,000 points from when Trump was in office. And remember when Trump was in office, you had empty shelves. There wasn't any toilet paper. And look, when there are serious issues, for example, like the stock market going down today. By the way, you have that graphic right there. U.S. unemployment was the worst since the Depression when Donald Trump was in office. That's what the headlines were there. Also, Angry Staffer had this graph, which I thought was helpful. I made a helpful chart for those who seem to be confused about stock market performance. Here's Trump and here's Biden. You can see it is significantly higher than Biden. Look, when we see something happen today, what do I want? What do you want, Ben? Like, what's the productive future? I'd like to now have a conversation with experts and really smart people. And I'd like to know, look, should the Federal Reserve cut interest rates sooner? Was that the smarter play? Is the fact that they're going to cut interest rates in September, is that enough? Should it be 50 basis points, 100 basis points, 25 basis points? What is it? What's the best solution here? Let's debate and have a constructive conversation. Is today's outcome, basically just a small adjustment when, stocks this year are still significantly higher than they were last year? That's the type of conversation that I want to have. And then I want to get all the possible solutions. And then I want to act in a steady, in a coherent, in a strategic way to be helpful here and to offer solutions and guidance. But what does Donald Trump and MAGA do? Dozens of posts today like this. Donald Trump posts, stock market crashing, Trump cash versus Kamala crash, Kamala crash, voters have a choice, Trump prosperity, Kamala crash, stocks are crashing. This is the Trump, and then you compare it to what he was saying, 2 weeks ago when he was saying, this is the Trump stock market because my polls against Biden are so good that investors are projecting that I will win. It will drive up the market. That's why the market is doing so well. And so it's just this amateurish, babyish, no offense to babies, fear-mongering behavior that, again, that's the opposite of what leadership should be, in this situation. There should actively rooting against the stock market. I told you so. And then saying things that aren't true. Look, when Black Monday occurred back in 1987, right? An actual crash. When Reagan was in office, by the way, it should be noted that. It went down, 25 to 27% in a single day? That's not even close to what we're even talking about. But the MAGAs are trying to make that happen. And they're trying to cause pain and they're trying to cause harm. And it's a real issue that they're trying to do that. And it's really screwed up. And I think we need to call that out at every step of the way. I want to also point out, though, the interview that Donald Trump gave today, because I think it also highlights, again, how bizarre and problematic it is. Like, take a look. Donald Trump spoke to this guy. His name is Aiden Ross. And Aiden Ross, I always have to learn new things about like these cast of characters that like Donald Trump's doing these interviews with, because I'm like, who's this? You know, the other interview was JD Vance and like the Nelk Boys, and it was like with all he's did on weird couches with all these beers around him. Like, I have to learn who are these people?
Aren't you always upset too the more you dig? Like when you like learn about who the people are, you're like, oh, I'm happy I didn't know who this person was, and now I do. And
well, it also is like, okay, got it. But I'm also comforted that I'm like, okay, I'm glad I don't know even who that is, while Donald Trump is racing to be on their podcast. On the one hand, Donald Trump calls someone like George Stephanopoulos, who's like one of the most incredible journalists of our time. Donald Trump calls him fake news and Slopodopoulos. But let's take a look at who Donald Trump says is a respected journalist, okay? Here's Donald Trump telling Aiden Ross, you are really respected. You should know that. You're a respected guy. Here, play this clip.
Well, my boys said, oh, that's such a big show. I don't know what you're doing, but you really are respected. Amazing. I mean,
I appreciate it.
You know,
and then after saying you're respected, Aiden Ross was just explaining to Donald Trump the way streaming works and what a streaming app is. Here, let me show you this. Let's play it.
Do you know what live streaming is on these platforms?
More or less, yeah.
Yeah.
More or less. It's the new wave.
It's the new wave. It's the new wave. I'm going to explain it to you, all right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to show you this chat right now. Let me show you this. So this is the live chat. Right. So you already broke the website in 5 minutes.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
wow.
You broke it. The chat wasn't working, but we ended up fixing it. It's just very slow. Everyone in the chat say hello. You guys can put hi in the chat, and W's mean it's good. W means win. Yeah. Yep. So
then Donald Trump talks about in this interview, again, Donald Trump doesn't want to speak with like a George Stephanopoulos. Donald Trump wants to speak to Aiden Ross. Donald Trump spent the interview whining how Trump says that he got booby trapped. He said he uses the word booby trap. And Trump said that he got booby trapped at the National Association of Black Journalists. And he blames Rachel Scott, the ABC reporter, for intercepting him and booby trapping him. This is Trump's interview from today with Aiden Ross. Play this clip.
But you know, you have journalists today, like that one that intercepted me. Literally, that was like a booby trap. I walk in and she starts saying, "We got to start a meeting." She didn't say, "Oh, thank you very much for being here."
No,
just like the worst. And frankly, if I owned that network, I would fire her so fast. It was so inappropriate. And I actually, you know, once you sort of walk out, then you put the guard up, and you actually give less information than what you would have if they did it with sugar, right? But she doesn't know about sugar.
She doesn't know about sugar, he says, and says intercepted and he got booby trapped. But let's take a look, though, just so you can see. And I want to talk to, because I know there are, people who are still Trump voters who have been told to watch the MeidasTouch network by family members, and just to try it out. And I know that we've changed a lot of minds of Trump voters once they've seen the truth and the facts. So here's what I want you to think about. I want you to think about your kids, and I want you to think about your grandkids, okay? And I want you to think about who Donald Trump is saying is well respected and who Donald Trump is calling a good journalist. Donald Trump is calling Aiden Ross those things. I want you to think about your family, and I want you to think about the morals, and I want you to think about the values, and I want you to think about the character with which you want to raise kids and grandkids and your own family. I want you to think about that. So here is Aiden Ross, and here's how this is his routine that he does, and this is why he's popular amongst a group of immature 12-year-olds, basically, who watch him. And one of the things he does is he sniffs the chairs so he can sniff the butts of people. And so Andrew Tate, someone who says the most horrific, racist, horrible things, is Aiden Ross's role model. And Aiden Ross then smells the seat so he can smell Andrew Tate's. Play the clip.
I have work to do. I'm done. I fixed you.
Where you going? I'm ready, bro. I'm really gonna do this shit. Y'all don't understand, bro. I'm really. And I just want to say, bro.
And then I want to show you here Aiden Ross sniffing the chair of a female guest who appeared, and she was like, "Ew, that's weird." Here, play this clip.
That's even weirder.
Let's go.
All right, I'm gonna make eye contact with you. Wow.
Ew, why are you being so weird?
And one more clip I want to show you about this person who Donald Trump says is very well respected is Aiden Ross. Someone sent him the word fascist. And just watch Aiden Ross when he hears the word fascist, and he looks up the definition of it because he wasn't sure what the word fascist was. Here, play this clip.
What does a fascist mean?
It means you are a far right authorization ultra analyst political ideology movement characterized by dictator leadership, centralized autocracy, militarism, forcible suppression of opposition. So I don't know what that means, bro. I swear to God, I don't know what the fuck a fascism is. I don't know what the fuck that is. Benito Mussolini and Giovanni Gentile and Jason Stanley. Like, who the fuck are these people, bro? Never heard of my fucking life. What is an example of a fascist? Yo! All right, bro. See what I'm saying, chat? Like, this is why I don't fuck with y'all, bro. Like, dude, like, this is what the fuck I don't... Bro, I don't fuck with y'all, bro. I do not fuck with you guys, bro.
That is who Donald Trump says is someone who is very respected. And Donald Trump attacks people like Rachel Scott, who was one of the moderators at the National Association of Black Journalists. And he attacks George Stephanopoulos, who he refers to as Slopodopoulos. But if you want to get into Donald Trump's mind with his third grade nicknames and the name calling and Slopodopoulos, I mean, it's right there. I mean, he and Aiden Ross are like the same are like the same people. When you watch that, it's like it unlocks a lot of things and makes a lot of sense. Like, that's actually, you know, who he is, and he thinks someone like Aiden, you know, is someone who's respected. But by the way, under a Trump administration, somebody like an Aiden would get positions of power over you. That's like Marjorie Taylor Greenes and Laura Loomers. These people will be making life and death decisions over your family. I want you to think about that. I want you to also think about that when we wrap up our show, we're going to be playing for free Against All Enemies. It was the #1 doc in the country on all of Apple's list, beating all of the main movies at that time, but it was previously paywalled. Now we're offering it for free on YouTube. You can watch it here on the MeidasTouch Network. Just make sure after you watch here to go and click on the Against All Enemies. The director
right there in the description.
You're right in the description. The directors and producers will be watching along with you. So that'll be fun. That'll be really, really cool. We'll be right back after our last quick break. Hey, Midas Mighty, with all these videos that I've been doing recently, and as I get a little bit older, it's important that I take care of my body, take care of my health, just be a little bit more intentional with the way I live. It's why I eat Mosh bars daily. Mosh was founded by Maria Shriver and her son, Patrick Schwarzenegger. Their mission was to create a conversation about brain health through food education and research. You see, Maria's father suffered from Alzheimer's, and since then, she and her son Patrick have dedicated themselves to finding ways to help other families with this debilitating disease. So they joined forces with some of the top scientists and functional nutritionists to go beyond your average protein bar with 10 delicious flavors, including 3 that are plant-based. Each Mosh bar is made with ingredients to support brain health like ashwagandha, lion's mane, collagen, and omega-3s. And now, Mosh has a new look and new formulation featuring a game-changing brain-boosting ingredient you're not going to find in any other bar. Mosh is now the first and only food brand boosted with cognizin, a premium nootropic that supplies the brain with a patented form of cytokinin. I've absolutely loved the flavor of their banana bread bars, and nothing feels better than getting a nutritious energy kick while knowing it's supporting my brain health. So if you want to find ways to give back to others and fuel your body and your brain, Mosh bars are the perfect choice for you. Go to moshlife.com/Meidas, save 20% plus free shipping on either the bestsellers trial pack or the new plant-based trial pack. That's 20% off plus free shipping on either the bestsellers or plant-based trial pack at moshlife.com/Meidas. Thank you, Mosh. That's moshlife.com/Meidas. Thanks for sponsoring this episode. Have you heard that the flavored air category is quickly becoming the leading alternative to vaping and smoking? It's a whole new movement towards better habits, led by the sponsor of this video, Fume. Fume is an award-winning flavored air device. Flavored air isn't like vaping. If vapor was compared to sticky soda, Fume cores are closer to herbal teas. Fume has lots of delicious flavors to choose from, like crisp mint and orange vanilla. With flavored air, you can satisfy your oral fixation through a passive diffusion system that utilizes no electronics, vapor, or combustion. Fume draws flavor to your mouth. Fume fills the void ditching a bad habit can leave. You still have something to reach for. Fume is not a vape. There's no vapor, and you could use it anywhere. There's no nicotine. It's not addictive. The non-toxic flavors are a guilt-free alternative. Fume doesn't use any batteries, so you'll never need to charge it. The design is super sleek. It looks awesome, and you can truly feel the weighted high-quality design. One of the things about Fume is that it's made to fidget with, and it calms anxiety with magnets, snaps, and clicks. Fume continuously invests in third-party studies to ensure the safety of their products. Fume is also backed by doctors in the United States. My favorite Fume flavor is crisp mint. It is honestly delicious, and I couldn't recommend this more for anyone trying to quit their bad habit. Fume has served over 300,000 customers, and you can be the next success story. For a limited time, use my code MeidasTouch, M-E-I-D-A-S, to get a free gift with your journey pack. So head to tryfume.com. That's TRYFUM.com. Tryfume.com. Use code Meidas or scan the QR code on screen to get a free gift with your order today.
Let's go. Shout out Fume. Fume's been a partner for a while. I want you to write in the chat right now if you use Fume, if you bought a Fume for somebody, and if it's really helped them quit their bad habit and start a good habit, because I know a lot of folks in the Meidas might have reached out to me and let me know that it certainly has. And Mosh, if you go to Mosh's URL, that's right in the link of the description, there's like a video of me on the website. That's how much they're, into the network. Yeah, it's really cool. I have like a separate video of me talking about Mosh. So check it out. Just friggin' amazing. Okay, before we move on, can I just get in really quick on this Aiden, that like, what is going on with the Trump campaign? The entire Trump campaign is like simply just pandering to his base. Like there's no other way to put it. Let's look at Vance, for example. JD Vance strategically has to be the single worst VP pick in history of potential VP picks. And why? Well, because he literally brings nothing to the table. Like a good VP pick is supposed to like be a chess move to lock up a state or a demographic of voters. And like the Vance pick just does none of that. He brings nothing. He's already from a state that leans Republican. And the Vance base, it's just like the MAGA status quo. So Vance, he's got no personality. He's in this position for one of two reasons. One, pander to the MAGA base. And two, if elected, do what Mike Pence, quote unquote, didn't have the courage to do. And that's a kind of a freaky thought when you think about it. So what else does Trump do? He shows up on these weird streams that, again, bring nothing to the table. Don't even bring him out of this MAGA bubble of these chronically online individuals, the Aiden Rosses, the Logan Pauls. Like, okay, fine. I'll concede that they probably have large followings, but they have the same followings. Terminally online individuals that already skew MAGA. Quite frankly, they're butt sniffers, and they talk to a base of individuals that are like too young to even vote. The Trump campaign is an unmitigated disaster right now, and it could be described in one word: weird. That's it.
Well, look, I mean, one of the things, I may as well show it now, that he was talking about in Georgia. He often taught in Atlanta Georgia, one thing he talks about is he goes, I don't have a guitar. I don't have a guitar. I don't have a guitar. He likes to say, but he says that he gets bigger audiences than Bruce Springsteen. And then he compares himself to Elvis, and he spends a ton of time attacking, why, what's your point of attacking Bruce Springsteen? Like a widely beloved and very popular musician who actually fills out stadiums. And Donald Trump is such a path. I mean, I can tell you one of the reasons too. One of the reasons is that when Donald Trump was told that his crowd size in New Jersey is far less than Bruce Springsteen's crowd sizes. And one of the reasons among many is that people like Bruce Springsteen get bigger crowds than him. And that like pisses Donald Trump off. So like, here's Donald Trump in Atlanta, like whining about Bruce Springsteen. And it's like people's like rights and lives and freedoms and Social Security and Medicare and healthcare and education and personal safety and freedoms like are all on the line. And Donald Trump's doing this. Here, play the clip.
Well, Hillary used to do that too. I remember she got Bruce Springsteen. I'm not I'm not a huge fan. I have a bad trait. I only like people that like me.
Let me say something. I think Trump is going into every state, and I think he's leaving each state, harming his campaign in those states. I almost wish that he would try to expand the map a little bit and try to get out there. Donald, hit every state. I want to see you do a rally in every swing state. But he's also doing like the most bizarre, Jordy, to your point before, he has the most bizarre campaign schedule right now where he's not even going to states that are going to have any impact on the election. Like beginning on Tuesday, Kamala Harris is embarking on a campaign of the swing states. She's going on a tour. She's hitting 7 swing states over 5 days. She's going to Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, Nevada. Donald Trump has one event in the next week, and it's in Montana. Like this isn't a serious campaign that we are watching right now. And it's just the whole thing is just so completely bizarre. But I'm sure that Donald Trump went into Georgia and left with less support than he had going in. I mean, who goes into Georgia and then attacks the Republican politician who is like the head of the party in that state, who is a figure who is liked by the party in that state? Imagine for 1 second Kamala Harris going to Michigan and spending her entire time at her rally attacking Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Like, you can't even fathom something so stupid. And you could think about the ramifications that would have on a candidate if they did something like that. Well, that's exactly what Donald Trump is doing. And if Georgia wasn't in play a couple weeks ago, it certainly is now. And I think we're going to continue to see Kamala Harris rise there and probably surpass Donald Trump in the polls in Georgia.
Well, look, and this is earlier today, at 3:15 my time on the West Coast, J.D. Vance sent out an email. This pic of Kamala pisses me off was the subject. This Kamala pisses me off. And then, Ben, when I saw this picture on Twitter, it instantly pissed me off. I mean, that's what he's making.
So weird.
He's making posts about a woman's jewelry now and saying that pisses him. Like what are they doing? I mean, quite literally, what in the world are they doing? And they think this is effective. I mean, look, Donald Trump's bragging that Mar-a-Lago is worth $1.5 billion. And you want to critique and attack the necklace on Vice President Kamala Harris, if that's even the necklace that she's even wearing.
I don't even think it's the same necklace.
I don't even think that's the necklace that she's wearing. It's not even the necklace that she's wearing, and then say that pisses you off. That's really, if that's what's pissing you off, you know what pisses me off? I'll tell you what pisses me off. It pisses me off that there are still Americans who live paycheck to paycheck, right? That's what pisses me off. What pisses me off is that veterans have to continually fight for basic care that they deserve, for making the ultimate sacrifices for our country, and that Republicans consistently try to block it. What pisses me off is that the number one cause of death for children are guns, and that weapons of war are permitted to proliferate without common sense gun control. And those are the things that piss me off. What pisses me off are things like that, not the necklace of what someone's wearing, and that's what they are making their entire campaign about. And it is weird, and it is odd, and it is dangerous. And that's why we keep on saying it. And Vice President Kamala Harris saying, we're not going back. I'll tell you where we are going forward with, though, as well. Donald Trump's criminal cases and civil cases, they're still moving forward. There was a brief lull in them after the Supreme Court's ruling, but the Supreme Court issued its mandate, which means essentially the Supreme Court order officially got handed down back to the federal court to resume proceedings. And in no time over the weekend, Judge Tanya Chutkan in the Washington, D.C. federal criminal case against Donald Trump for trying to overthrow the results of the 2020 election issued 2 orders right away. One where she set a status conference, and the others where she denied Donald Trump's motions to dismiss on statutory grounds and on other frivolous grounds, like literally within 12 hours, denied his motion, set a status conference, moving that case along quickly. We'll see if an evidentiary hearing is going to be set there, like a mini trial, if you will, to address the issues of immunity. Also, Donald Trump's attempt to remove the remaining parts of the gag order in the Manhattan criminal case where he was convicted on 34 felony counts. That was denied by the appellate division. And they were like, Donald, you're a convicted felon, buddy. You haven't been sentenced yet. The proceedings are not over. Convicted felons don't just walk into the appellate division and ask us for favors so you can keep on attacking the judge's family members. Like, that's the remaining part of the gag order that Donald Trump wants to be removed. Trump can talk about the jury now. He can talk about witnesses. He just can't attack the judge's daughter and like other district attorney staff and family members. But that's what Trump is making all of these appeals over. He needs to attack them now. The appellate division's like, go away. And then Donald Trump sought the recusal of Justice Merchan, the judge presiding over the Manhattan criminal case. Donald Trump said, now that Vice President Kamala Harris is the presumptive nominee, he didn't say that in those nice terms. It looked like the ranting and ravings of a lunatic when you read it. He goes, now you must recuse yourself, Justice Merchan, to which the Manhattan District Attorney's Office responded, what are you talking about? You've tried this 3 times already. No, go away. It's vexatious and frivolous. I want to turn it over to you, Brett, but I want to remind everybody as well. We'll tell you for the first time, we're going to hold our monthly Zoom on Thursday. If you ever wanted to meet me, Brett, and Jordy together following this Thursday's live, so after it ends, so right around 9:15 Eastern, 6:15 Pacific, we'll have the link on our Patreon. We'll go into a Zoom chat where we'll have a meeting. You can ask us questions. We'll answer all of your questions. And the secret link will be on our Patreon, patreon.com/MeidasTouch. And we look forward to meeting all of you at the next Zoom meeting. And we don't have outside investors, so that's one of the ways we build this independent media platform. Brett, tell us what else is up.
Yeah, and I'll say we're going to be posting that soon, so keep a lookout on our Patreon at patreon.com/MeidasTouch. Can't wait to chat with all of you. I want to talk briefly about Trump freaking out over these bad polls. You know, I don't love going with the day-to-day polling and everything, but I do like seeing trends, and I do like seeing Donald Trump have a meltdown. So I enjoy speaking about this particularly because Donald Trump has actually not led in any sort of legitimate national poll now in over a week, and there's starting to be a massive amount of panic in Trump world. There's been rumors about if he's going to get rid of one of his campaign managers. We saw Kellyanne Conway, of all people. They're bringing back the old characters, folks, in with Donald Trump, meeting with him the other day. He's losing in all the major polling averages now, whether it's 538, also Nate Silver's model, which is separate. He's not a part of 538 anymore. And even a Real Clear Politics, which skews to the right because of the way the polls that they use. Like, he's losing in all those. Kamala's now up in a lot of these state polls. And Trump, who used to say every second, I'm leading in every poll by a lot. All the polls are real. All the polls are great. I'm leading in every poll by a lot. And that's why they're coming after me. Now he's releasing these panic statements being like, the polls are all fake. They're all fake polls, fake data, fake numbers, and it shows you just the much different place that we are in this race. And we've seen some of the panic moves behind the scenes with Donald Trump to try to get people back on board. I don't know, because his policies are so toxic. And one of the things that has really crushed the Trump campaign was people finding out about Project 2025. And when people learn about Project 2025, they learn how they hate the ideas in it. And so the more they learn, the more they hate the ideas. And they know that it's Donald Trump's plan. They know that it was designed for Donald Trump by Donald Trump's people. Something like 80% of the people involved in Project 2025 have worked for Donald Trump's administration. They sponsored the Republican National Convention, the Heritage Foundation, who makes Project 2025. Trump has talked to these people. And Trump, a couple of weeks ago, tried to throw the Project 2025 people under the bus publicly and try to be like, what, Project 2025? We don't know anything about that. And then they fired one of their directors of operations. And it's like, because Donald Trump told them to. And it's like, wait a second. If you had nothing to do with that, how did Donald Trump get you to fire your people? It sounds like there must be some ties there. I'm just saying. And now, so what they're doing, and guess what? We caught them. The media has caught them. Donald Trump and the Project 2025 team are trying to launch a secret plan, but their secrets have been exposed. The architect of Project 2025 is this guy. He goes by the name Russell Voigt. He's the architect of Project 2025. Remember, Trump claimed he does not know this. I do not know what this Project 2025 is. Well, he's now working on another secretive plan, which is Project 2025, basically with a different name. And they're calling it the 180-day transition playbook. And it is for Donald Trump, and it is designed to speed up Project 2025's implementation and to try to avoid all that chaos that Donald Trump had in the start of his first term. And I would extend it to, it wasn't just the start of his term. Donald Trump's entire term was just full of chaos. It was just bedlam the entire time. But it shows you that they're freaking out. But the things that they are saying publicly are still not the things that they're doing privately. They're still trying to push Project 2025. It is still identical to the Trump agenda. And Trump has his agenda, which his people always like to go, Project 2025 is in Trump's agenda is Agenda 47. When you read Agenda 47 is like the same thing as Project 2025. They share like all the same ideas. It's just like Donald Trump, like everything. Like he's upset. Yeah, his butt sniffer. He's upset that he didn't get his butt sniffing all over it. I don't know what the heck's going on, but oh my gosh, weird times, weird people, dangerous people. But I see that hope is winning, and you see the hope in these crowds when you look at the Kamala Harris rallies in Atlanta compared to Donald Trump's. You see the optimism, you see the shift in the energy, and guess what? Donald Trump's not going to recalibrate by doing the right thing. He is going to continue to harm himself by doing crazier and crazier and crazier things, which is going to remind people, especially those voters in the middle, how insane he is. And this Aiden Ross thing, the butt sniffers, like all this stuff is just reminding people. And to Jordy's point, it ain't bringing in new voters, but it's certainly pushing the voters that he needs to win away. Man, what a great episode, guys. I know we're going to have a lot to talk about very soon. I know Ben's got some more hot takes cooking, and I'm so excited for Against All Enemies, which is about to starting at 9:15 Eastern. And like I said before, if you're listening to this on audio, you can still go to our YouTube channel and watch it for free, youtube.com/MeidasTouch. So make sure you subscribe. We're so honored to be able to bring this to you for free. It's going to be it's going to be such a good watch. It's an important film. And I'm excited to be able to have everybody watch this. And thanks for a great show, everybody. Ben?
Want to remind everybody, patreon.com/MeidasTouch. Since we don't have outside investors, the way we build this thing are through those emojis that you see below. I know you love the emojis. Those great sponsors whose discount codes, the links to them and the discount codes are in the descriptions below. And our Patreon on Thursday, after the show concludes, the MeidasTouch podcast concludes, we will meet with you in the Zoom. The secret link will be posted on Patreon. And look, if you're able to join Patreon, it's great. It helps build this network. And look, this network is outperforming Fox, CNN, MSNBC, thanks to you. So keep sharing the word about this network. Tell others about it. Jordy, take it away.
Shout out to the Midas Mighty!
The Midas Mighty standing strong
It's Ken Harbaugh with the MeidasTouch Network. The film Against All Enemies, which I co-produced with Ben Meiselas and this network, has won awards around the world for its up-close portrayal of America's insurrectionist movement. It premieres in the U.S. on March 29th on Amazon and Apple TV. Go to againstalllenemiesfilm.com or click the link below. But don't just watch Against All Enemies. Tell your friends about it. It's one more way to hold accountable those who threaten our democracy. Thanks, Midas Mighty. Let's use our power well.